Hey everybody, Nick Licameli here. Today we're talking about the curl and whether or not you should add some shoulder flexion into the exercise or whether you should keep your arms pinned down to your side. And the answer is, of course, it depends. It depends on the goal and it depends on the muscles that you're targeting, whether that be the biceps or the deeper elbow flexors like the brachialis and brachioradialis. Let's get into it. So we've talked about this in other videos, the connections of the biceps versus the other elbow flexors like the brachialis and brachioradialis. So you can see the biceps, thank you, Harry. You can see the biceps attaches to the radius, and the radius rotates around the ulna when you do that supination movement. The biceps pulls up on it and rotates it up, okay, around a stable ulna. So the radius rotates around a stable ulna. Get out of here. So the radius and the ulna sit right next to each other in the forearm. The radius is right there on the thumb side, and the ulna is right there on the pinky side. And once again, the radius rotates around a stable ulna. The brachialis sits under the biceps. It attaches to the ulna. Get out of here. The brachialis attaches to the ulna, right? And the ulna, like we just said, stays stationary, does not move. The radius rotates around the ulna does not move. So the brachialis, so that's just the biceps rotating the radius again. The brachialis just flexes the elbow, right? So when I pronate, point my palm downward like that, I'm putting the end of the biceps on stretch, right? Just like that. So it's at a disadvantage to contract and contribute to elbow flexion. That brachialis that I pointed to right there is now going to be the main mover. Once I supinate, then the biceps has that mechanical advantage to take over that elbow flexion. Important to know because the biceps crosses the shoulder joint, which makes it a weak contributor to shoulder flexion. The biceps crosses the shoulder joint, not the brachialis or brachioradialis. If you are performing a reverse curl like that, the biceps is not involved, right? Because you're knocking it out by pronating your arm and putting your palm down. So by moving your shoulder forward and flexing your shoulder, you're not really engaging the biceps anymore because you're already knocking them out by pointing your palm downward. However, if you are doing a normal curl with your palm upward, you may want to add that little bit of shoulder flexion to the mix because you are using that biceps to perform that curl. Alright, so first up is a standard dumbbell curl to target the biceps, right? So my palms are up, I have that supination, and I am adding a little bit of shoulder flexion at the end of the movement, right there, right? That little bit of a tip forward. You don't want to get too excessive and make the movement more of a shoulder movement than a biceps movement. Now we have the hammer curl. So the hammer curl, we are getting out of that supinated position, so we are putting the biceps at a disadvantage to contribute to this movement. So now the focus is going to be on the brachialis and brachioradialis. And as we said before, those muscles don't cross the shoulder joint. So by flexing the shoulder forward, we wouldn't be really improving this exercise because the biceps is knocked out of it. So all we're focusing on is elbow flexion, and therefore there is no need to add shoulder flexion to the movement. And of course, you can't do a video about curling without flexing at yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and we'll see you next time.